welcome back. We are just now gracing just the beginnings. We are seeing two little baby players, a baby Protoss HasuObs in the bottom left and a baby Morrow in the top right. And much like in ancient Sparta, they're being raised to be cold-hearted warriors on the battlefield.
You know, Day, I actually thought you were going to say something along the lines of, and just like in Muppet Babies, but it didn't go there. So, maybe some other time.
Only Muppet hears me, we. Does look like HasuObs not going to be going for any sort of early expo. You can do some very wacky wall-offs if you so desire, but HasuObs just saying, no reason to go nuts. I'll play it safe, get my expansion up eventually, and as long as I get those Colossi at some point in the late game, I'm going to be set.
Yeah, so I was just seeing the drone up. How is Morrow going to do this? In both of the games, we've seen him go on gas pool. We've commented about, the things we do like or not like about it. In this case, he's going to go ahead and throw down that gas, not even think about it. And again, Zerg players, argue amongst yourself. Everyone seems to have a different opening that they like in that particular situation, but he decides to go with that while the gateway does go down here. And more pros being chrono boosted out. So we talked a little bit about, of course, the chokes here and how they can be so deadly. Would love to see some Infestor play, but, keep in mind that there's a lot of, backwards areas where Lings can sneak in and do some stuff. There's some rocks in the back as well. So, we don't see them utilized as much here on this map, but certainly they are there at any player's disposal.
Yeah, those backdoor rocks, haven't seen a lot of playing with those, but, people are still slowly breaking the mold from those early maps. Blistering Sands, we saw there weren't a lot of backdoor aggressions at the start, and then it became that if you didn't rush for that you were awful. So we may see later developments of that sort, and, on this particular map, I would not actually mind to see Morrow's build that he's doing right now utilized to hit, the back door down. It's a little bit harder to manage that space as HasuObs. You have to be bouncing back and forth between the front and that right back door, so that might be quite effective.
Yeah, it's also really easy to get over there out of the way. There is a quick route for the Protoss, but that Protoss army isn't exactly the fastest thing in the world. You get caught from going it behind, and someone could go in right through the front, so he'll have to always be watching that. Overlord's going to see there's no expansion here. Another pylon going up for Hasu. His Zealot is out. Warp Gate is being boosted right now. Lings are going around and checking the map, taking the towers, while the second hatchery is going down right now. So another queen coming up. He's going to just drone it up, and one more drone making its way into the base, very similar to what we saw in the last game, and went right through that Zealot. But the Stalker is out much earlier this time based off of the build that we saw at HasuObs, and he gets rid of that drone quite easily.
Now, getting the Stalker is the best way to conceal whatever strategy it is you're doing. Yeah. It is a cheap on gas unit, so it doesn't prevent you from doing something like, getting Void Rays, going for very fast Dark Templar. So this is as in the dark as you can be as Morrow. We're seeing HasuObs actually split up his gateways. Very, very wise. No reason to put them together, because with Warp In, you just transcend distance and time and do whatever you want with them. But there's the Stargate sneaking its way in at the back. So a pretty unusual 3-gate Stargate play from HasuObs versus Zerg could be an early all-in.
Yeah, the great thing about the position of that Stargate is the fact that there's literally nothing right now that, there's an Overlord way over here, but he would have to fly through the base of HasuObs in order to see that. So it's either going to have to be that sixth sense that the Stargate has gone up, and some players do indeed have that, or he's going to need to really aggressively scout for that. Overlord is moving to check on the expansion again. Nexus will be going down soon. Ling does make its way in and looks as well. So he sees the unit comp, the Nexus going down. Does he have vision with the where his Overlord is? Yes, he does know that it is going down. So again, how is Morrow going to respond as we see the Roach Warren about to complete and a couple of Spine Crawlers going up as well?
One technique I really do not mind is to wait until that Nexus is at 99% complete and cancel it. That was the OGSMC style 4-gate push. But even when you're doing some sort of funky timing like what HasuObs is doing, I mean, look at that Stargate. Got the Stargate and still expanded, and now is not even producing much out of those gateways. Look at that, only 6 gateway units, and now getting yet another warp gate. HasuObs literally printing money somehow to be able to support this many unit producing structures without a natural expo. Still like to emphasize, I do not mind at all a push with a canceled Nexus, especially after he kills off that Overlord.
Yeah, now he does put the Forge down as well, so the Overlord knows that the Void Ray is out, so there it's going to go and try to do as much damage as it possibly can. Now, big map, so the Zerg does get an opportunity to go ahead and respawn immediately. The Evolution Chamber does go down. There were some extra Queens built early on to spread that creep, so he is going to be able to at least do some damage versus this Void Ray. We'll see how it is controlled by HasuObs. More Gateway coming out. Nexus does go down. Robotics facility, and well, all of the gates are now open, so HasuObs getting away with exactly this.
Now beginning to advance forward, just one Void Ray, one Phoenix, not going crazy at all. He's just trying to do a little bit of harassment. This isn't your Cruncher style, you know, 3 Void Ray, 8 Phoenix harass. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just getting 4 kills on that Void Ray, a couple drones, scouting around with the Phoenix, and we're seeing immediately HasuObs go into the hardcore ground production mode. Now, interestingly, HasuObs still has not really used any of his structures. He still has those same 6 gateway units, the 3 sentries, the 2 zealots, and the 1 stalker. But this is an interesting concept we're seeing more of in StarCraft 2, that just having the unit producing structure is often more important than the unit itself. And if you're ever in a bind, well, hey, I have 6 gateways, so I just warp in whatever I need. So it's, again, another one of those momentum-style plays. You build up all those structures first, and then suddenly you begin flooding with units for a much larger mid-game attack.
Void Ray still floating around, doing some damage. Creep is being spread out very nicely here by this Queen, this extra Queen. Do have one Ling that is actually down here checking, and I assume that he's just waiting to see if anyone moves out in case maybe a third might be grabbed here. Of course, that is one of the things that Protoss always has to be aware of, is which third and how am I going to defend it, etc. Hydras are out yet again. Groove Spine's going down. Of course, Hydra's a good response to these Void Rays, and if he split these Hydras up, he might be able to bait them back into these Hydras in the back. And will the Void Ray go down? 2 Hydras, you've got to do it. You can't do it, and that Void Ray does get away with 35 points of health. Moving forward yet again, we're going to see a big old creep highway being dropped right here. And a lot of Hydras moving forward.
Oh my god, Queens and Spine Crawlers coming into the fray as well. We're going to see if that gateway delay was a smart decision by HasuObs. I know he doesn't even have the robotics facility up yet. He is going to be just trying to trap everything up at that narrow choke, but we're seeing Morrow had a backup plan. Look at all those creep overlords just oozing up all over the place.
Yeah. Yep, we do have a miss rally there. There he has just fixed it now, but a lot of this army moving forward, really trying to get this creep down for the mobility. Oh my god, I love this. See where these spine crawlers are actually moving to, then go all the way around, possibly plant themselves in the back. Looks like the army is going to respond. There's a lot more area that is going to have to be force field here with only 3-4 sentries. Another Overlord will go down, but in comes this Hydra Roach mix with a few Lings as well. We've even got this Queen dropping the tumors, and I think that we could have some trouble here for HasuObs.
HasuObs doesn't have that power unit, the Colossus, out, and even if it does pop out, range is still, oh my gosh, over a full minute away from being finished. So now the Spine Crawlers are burrowing, and we're seeing those creep tumors begin to spread very, very aggressively. Huge play right now from Morrow, just completely shutting down any movement there in the middle of the map. Creep tumor even planted in the center on the way down. Completely different Morrow than what we've been seeing all day. A completely different style in every single game. Now moving forward with that huge Roach Hydra army. Queen up in front, taking a huge amount of damage because those Queens so beefy with their 175 hit points. Carefully repositioning himself, making use of those Spine Crawlers. And the creep tumor is continuing to advance, but Morrow has to be very careful about those rallies. He does have Protoss cornered, and he's making another advance.
Oh, and there we go. Roaches do go in. Force fields go down as he tries to get these spike crawlers burrowed. One of them does go down. Immortal will drop as well. But look at the protection of that Colossus as it remains alive. A bunch of sentries are going to be moved to the back of the army, but with that Colossus alive, he can still do it. And the cannons doing a ton of damage.
Wow.
Morrow over-committing here. And as the second Colossus comes out, the Protoss will win that battle. Unfortunate.
Wow. He's going to have to change his name to Mouse Sports Sorrow after that battle week. You'll note I stayed up very late last night to come up with these sort of jokes.
Beautiful.
Now, yes, that was on the spot. Now, I will say, though, that, Morrow's brilliant attempted push, I especially love how there's those ghostly remnants of the push, the creep tumors hanging out in the middle of the map, making sure that there's a little bit more pressure for the later stages of the game, but now suddenly is the moment that no Zerg wants to be in on this map, where there's that slowly advancing death ball, moving through those narrow regions where all those sentries force fields become so potent. And wow, yep. Good game. Morrow just types out.
Wow. Creep tumor's dying, man. Yeah. GG. Kill the creep tumor. I'm out. Peace.
I mean, I will say, though, GG! I will say, though, that I do think that was the correct play there from Morrow. He kind of just shoved everything into that fight, and it was brilliant. But, that Colossus came out just in time, and we saw HasuObs control it so brilliantly, barely getting it out of the way every single time and baiting countless Zerg units to their death at those cannons and the gateway units. So Morrow's just going to end up typing out, moving on to the next game, and it will be Shakura's Plateau.
Yeah, the force field from HasuObs that initially prevented him from coming in through the closer choke. I feel like that was the downward spiral there that started for Morrow. As he started moving around, felt like he really just kind of like lost some of his, some of the organization that he was going into that attack with. He's very indecisive about where he wanted those spine crawlers to go down, and it was a very brilliant play there by HasuObs. Again, using his defense so wisely and saving those valuable Colossus. Good force fields too. That pretty much staple Protoss play right there. We're gonna be going into game 4 with HasuObs.
Currently up 2-1,
yeah, 2-1.
And I even want to add a little bit to that last game. What we've said time and time again is that Morrow loves those huge mid-game pressure plays, whether it be Baneling busts or that drop that we saw on Terminus or that even amazing Spinecrawler push that we just finished on Crossfire. That's great, but again, that safe opening comes back to haunt him in those attacks. You see that Morrow just barely lost that battle by inches. And if he had favored getting an expansion up a little bit earlier, perhaps not getting the Zergling speed, which really never even came into play in that game, he could have very easily had maybe 5-6 extra Hydralisks and just ended up crunching over the front door. So that really goes to show you that, as powerful as that can be, sometimes you have to go all the way back to your initial opening and see if there's some way you can re-optimize it. And I think that that's definitely going to be a big push for Morrow in the coming matches. But for now, he just has to stick to what he knows and hope that those little thin edges he have is enough for him to work with.
Completely agree, and we're having a little bit of deja vu in this matchup. HasuObs takes game number 3, which means that Morrow is on the brink of elimination with HasuObs. One more game to move forward. Can he shut it down in game number 4? We're going to find out when we come back here to thepokerstrategy.com. TSL3 Saturday, round of 16. Coming up next, mouz.HasuObs versus mouz.Morrow, game 4. Don't go away.